I apologize. This episode is extremely late from what I wanted to do. But with everything going on, it's been a little taxing of sorts with trying to maintain business life, personal life, and, keep everything going. So, I apologize in advance, and I will definitely have another episode up this weekend to make up for the gap. Next episode is going to be relating to conspiracy theories due to the fact of a suggestion that was brought to my attention by a listener, and I'll explain more about that on the weekend for that episode. So, a couple of nights ago, I was hanging out with my friend Monkey, and actually, I'll be bringing him on for an episode. So, bear in mind, whenever me and Monkey get together, we just go crazy with random conversation. And by far, I think as soon as I bring him onto the show, it's going to be the most chaotic, random thing that you will ever listen to. So, as I was saying, I was hanging out with Monkey on Monday, and we're both big wrestling fanatics. We were actually part of a local pro wrestling promotion that is actually in this area, and we started discussing the releases that WWE did, and to all of those talents that were recently let go of, from your friend Mr. Cheshire, I wish you the best of luck, and hopefully once everything is settled down with the C virus, we'll be able to get back to a sense of normalcy, and you'll be able to get back to doing what it is y'all do best, and that's inspiring everyone through your athletic ability and your amazing characters. But continuing on with the story, so we got into the discussion of the releases, and then we started talking about our favorite wrestlers. Then it went on to commercials. As I said, me and Monkey, we go into random conversations, but the commercials that we're talking about weren't really like the current commercials that we have. And it all spurned from a commercial that we saw for Modelo, which is a sponsor for UFC. And then from there, because I remembered that Bud Light was a sponsor of UFC at one point in time. And then from there, I don't know how the conversation went to this, but it was more of a what if, like, Colt 45 was a sponsor of UFC. And I made the comment that it wouldn't work because in order to have Colt 45 as a sponsor, you have to have the original voice of Colt 45, Billy D. Williams, to be part of it. Now, I'm a child of the 80s that grew up in the 90s, and I remember watching Billy D. Williams and the Colt 45 commercials late at night. And you have to admit, that man has a very, very smooth voice. It's like butter, especially whenever he's in a role that is extremely deep and passionate. So, like Mahogany. If you ever get a chance and you feel like watching a movie that has good character development, watch Mahogany. It stars Billy D. Williams and I think Diana Ross as well. But I can only imagine what it would sound like if Billy D. Williams was the voice of Colt 45 sponsoring the UFC. I mean, it'd probably be like, well, hello. My name is Billy D. Williams, and I am the voice and host of UFC, sponsored by Colt 45. If you ever need a drink, and you want to make sure that it doesn't stink, be sure to pop the top of a nice soothing Colt 45. I know that was my worst impersonation of Billy D. Williams, but it was worth a shot. But just, can you picture your favorite celebrity? Like, you can picture any celebrity that has endorsed some form of drink, and it doesn't have to be alcoholic. It could be a soda, it could be bottled water. But can you imagine them being the voice of UFC instead of Bruce Buffer? I mean, I can imagine that it would have quite a bit of hilarity to it. So it's just something to ponder, and if you have any comments relating to that, give me some suggestions of celebrities that you would like to see announce a sporting event like UFC, WWE, even like the NFL, rugby, whatever it may be. Just drop a quick little line, let me know your suggestions, and explain why that person would be good at hosting a sporting event. So, with everything going on in this world and how we feel displaced from our normal lives, it's important to try to keep fit. Mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, it is important to be fit in all these aspects, because with everything that has been occurring, I mean, across the nation alone, there have been heightened statistics relating to drug and alcohol abuse, domestic issues, even suicides. So I figured tonight, excuse me a moment, had to get another drink of water here. So I figured tonight that we discuss a little bit about how to keep yourself fit during these trying times. And it's going to be a little bit of physical, it's going to be a little bit of mental, it's going to be in conjunction with emotional and spiritual. Now, by no means am I a professional in the terms of giving advice. This is more suggestion. I mean, you probably heard this from professionals, you probably heard these things from close friends, family. I just want to be able to chime in a little bit with my suggestions on how to try to keep fit during everything that's going on. So we're going to start with the terms of mental fitness. And this is going to be more of a piggyback from my one episode that I did about how to keep busy with social distancing. The first thing is going to be, in terms of mental, it's always about having that strong support system. And I discussed it before. You have your family as your support system, co-workers that are going through the same thing, try to keep each other lifted up. And you have your close friends, because there are certain things that you want to be able to discuss with co-workers that you do not want to bring to your friends and family, and vice versa for the other two. So it's definitely important to have that structure. Now, if you have that strong support system, but yet you don't want to bring those issues to them, there are things that you can actually do that'll help you keep with strong mental focus. The first thing I would like to suggest is in terms of artistic or creative endeavors. And I mentioned this before, picking up a new hobby, something that you can do, writing, composing songs, painting, going full on distance with artistic endeavors. Even if there was a hobby that you haven't done in a while, it's good to pick it up again. Sometimes an absence from something that you love and enjoy can be rekindled once you're in a position to where you can actually do it again. Whenever you're doing something that you enjoy, that you love, that you feel passionate about, it helps you keep mental focus a lot more. I mean, there have been times where I've just sat on the couch and didn't want to do anything, but I started doing writing again. And maybe one day we might actually do a live poetry jam, be able to share each other's work, see how that goes. Just something that I would like to suggest. But also keeping up with mental fitness. Aside from artistic endeavors that you can be going into, try to keep things in line with a schedule. If you live a structured life, and with everything that's going on with the C virus, if it's been disrupted, as I said, when we do podcasts for Cheshire's Place, there will be mistakes. I am only human in a cat body. But if you're used to a structured schedule, try to get yourself back into that norm. It's important to keep that type of repetition in your behavior. If you're used to waking up at 8 o'clock in the morning, still wake up at 8 o'clock in the morning. There's quite a bit of things that you can do to get yourself motivated. From 8 o'clock in the morning till a certain amount of time, you could be doing something artistic. You can be doing daily affirmations on how to make yourself more positive, more enjoyable. Then you can move to making breakfast. Then from there, you set aside a certain amount of time for another endeavor that you could be doing. Or you could be going outside, enjoying the good weather that we're having. There's a lot that you can do just to keep up that process of staying on a schedule. Also, reading. Reading is actually very good. Listening to motivational speakers are good. I will never say this enough, but YouTube is a strong wealth cachet. There's actually quite a few motivational speakers that I listen to on YouTube. Whenever I think about it next time, I will actually have a list of some of the people that I listen to, especially in terms of what's going on now. There's been an uprise with more motivational speakers out there trying to give words of positivity. And it's actually very refreshing to hear those words because they're individuals who are going through the same thing that everyone else is. So whenever you get a chance, go on YouTube. Listen to those speakers. Listen to those individuals. It's refreshing to hear their stories and how they're dealing with everything. So, mental fitness also connects with physical fitness. Now, recently, I've gotten better with being more physical. This is prime opportunity for those who miss working out in a gym, or if you've thought about trying to work out but never had the time, or you felt uncomfortable being in gyms and big surroundings. This is the perfect time to start taking those steps of being physically fit. So, here's a small suggestion. Starting off, just 20 minutes a day. 20 minutes a day just to do some type of physical activity. And it doesn't have to be like full-blown balls to the wall, like hardcore HIIT training. It can be something as simple as going outside and walking for 20 minutes. Or if you have a bicycle or rollerblade, Or you can pop in your favorite fitness tape and work out. Yoga, meditation. Meditation is actually physical and mental. Now, most people wouldn't think of meditation as a actual exercise, but it really is. Just being able to put yourself in a zone where you don't have to stress or worry, and you're able to work on your breathing while just letting go of the stress. That is an important exercise, just as important as a jumping jack or a push up or lifting weights. Meditation is absolutely perfect, especially with the world feeling like it's going to implode. You just need that 20 minutes of meditative practice just to breathe. Also, in terms of physical, if you're not used to working out, create your own fitness plan. Make it simplistic. Give yourself a time frame. So for instance, for 20 minutes a day, for day one, I want to focus on arms. So I'm going to do push-ups starting off. I'll start off with my first variation of push-ups. And it's good whenever you're working out to change up the exercises. So a lot of people probably don't know this, but whenever we think of push-ups, we either think of the old school, high school ones where we're wide base and we're going, or even military push-ups where the shoulders are completely in and you're going all the way down to the ground with your chest and coming up. There's a lot of variations of push-ups out there, so you can easily change it up, and each style of push-up will actually benefit the body in different ways. There's push-ups that help with triceps. There's push-ups that help with biceps. Push-ups that help with strengthening up the chest in different ways, that help with the core. So say, for instance, exercise number one, I want to do push-ups. Well, what type of push-ups do I want to do? Do I want to make it more useful for the arms? Do I want to focus in on the chest? What is it that I'm looking for? So let's start off with a basic military-style push-up. Nice, simple. Do a set of 10 to 15. If you're unable to do an actual standard military push-up, there are different modifications that you can do for pretty much any exercise that you want to try. And if you ever need a source for trying to figure out how to do these modifications for any exercises, once again, YouTube. Athlean X, what are other websites? Just look up push-ups, look up any exercise you want to do. There are tons of resources out there. So starting off with push-ups, I'll do some push-ups. Then I would move to doing sit-ups, crunches, Russian twist, sitting V's, then moving on to squats, lunges, then going into jumping jacks. There's different variations of jumping jacks that you can do. Now, as I probably mentioned before, I'm big into martial arts. I've been training in martial arts for a very long time, so I'll work on things relating to my practices. So there's videos I observe for like Taibo. Taibo is actually good. It's a good warm-up, and then I step away from that and I'll actually work on katas, forms. I'll work on drills for jiu-jitsu. I'll work on combination, shadow boxing. That's always a good thing to do. Also, if you're a member of a gym or a fitness club, be sure to inquire if they are doing online fitness programs. Now, there are some gyms in my area that are actually doing that. Also, in terms of like fitness centers, martial arts schools. Actually, recently I saw a group of people behind my house in one of the football fields practicing social distance. Everyone was 6 feet apart, and they were doing a fitness class. It was actually pretty amazing to watch. But there are things that you can do for that physical fitness that you can still practice your social distancing with. You don't have to be alone whenever it comes to working out. If you want to gather a group of friends while practicing social distancing to work out and make it fun, that's definitely an option as well. Also, in terms of this, you can do physical exercise with your family. Actually, this past weekend, I saw a family down the road and they were just playing basketball. They were having fun. Even today, I saw a group of kids riding bicycles or skateboarding. So you can still go outside, you can still have fun, you can still be physically active. But be sure to try to exercise good social distancing practices. Now, I understand whenever you're being physically fit, it's hard to do that, but just try to keep it in the back of your mind. Now, in terms of emotional fitness and wellness, daily affirmations, listening to motivational speakers, the things that we discussed with mental focus, it plays as a big of a part in emotional wellness and fitness as well. One thing that I have discovered that actually helps this wonderful, wonderful melodious cat is, once again, writing. Because I enjoy writing, I enjoy the artistic endeavor of it, I enjoy the expression that it gives me. Sometimes I will actually write a little bit before I come and record an episode. And it really does help because it gets me centered. So sometimes in the morning before I have to hop on a conference call, I'll wake up a little early. I'll do a little bit of writing. It gets me focused for the day. It gets me emotionally centered. So however I would be feeling prior to the meeting, I'm more relaxed going in. Also during the times where it feels like I'm ready to explode, because living alone in my wonderful little cat house, it does get a little lonely. It does become a little too much. Sometimes just writing down those emotions really helps out. So, once again, going with artistic expression, that will help you not only mentally but emotionally as well. As it's been said before, emotional content is artistic. Expressing yourself through your work gives you a balance. So give it a shot sometime. Now, in terms of spiritual wellness, now we know in today's world there are many different paths of spiritual well-being. It can be within the definition of religion. It could be within personal spiritual growth. It can be expressed in so many different ways. Take the time and release everything. Find a balance for what it is that you are going through. If it is through your belief in religion, it's perfectly fine. If you're not religious, if you're spiritual, or if you're agnostic, or if you're atheist, there are other things that you can do that will bring a more personal spiritual strength to yourself. And it could be done through physical endeavors. It could be done just by talking to people. Being able to communicate in general is a form of spiritual release. Now, you may ask, Mr. Cheshire, what do you mean by communication is spiritual release? So, think about whenever you're talking to someone that you connect with. friend, family, loved one, even a stranger that has a good vibe. The feeling from that conversation, being able to get certain things off your chest, being able to enjoy a good laugh or sometimes a good cry, the release is very euphoric once you feel better. It puts you on a wavelength that just makes everything become better in a sense, if you get where I'm coming from on this. It's a form of spiritual release because you're releasing all the troubles that you had. Even if it's for a moment, it's a way to release. And that is a big part of personal spiritual growth. And you don't have to be religious to find spiritual growth. It's part of your own path. And however you believe, as long as you're able to have the growth from that and the understanding on how it's affecting you personally, that is where spiritual growth comes from. So, take the time, converse with people. Even if you cannot converse with a person in person, there are different ways, and we discussed it before. You can talk to them on social media. You can get on Zoom or House Party or Skype and be able to talk to a person. Even if you're not able to be in front of that individual face to face and be able to interact the old ways that we are used to, you can still interact with them. And from that, the weight of the world, even if it's for 15, 20 minutes, even an hour, the weight of the world will feel as light as a feather because you're releasing all of that negative that has been thrust upon us. And once you release the shackles of negativity, that is when you begin to grow in your own spiritual path. And that is important, just as it is to be mentally and emotionally fit and physically fit. They all play a role. So try to keep all of those factors close to you as we go through everything that is going on, because it is important. So, just to go back on the physical aspect, one thing that I've actually discovered in terms of like working out, because I enjoy being able to go to the gym. I enjoy being able to go train at one of the local schools here for martial arts. But sometimes, whenever you can't train in a building, nature is the best training facility. And this really plays in terms of everything that we discuss with physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual, due to the fact that you were outside in nature. You were using nature as a tool, just as our ancestors did in the past. You feel like lifting something? Find a heavy tree branch, find a rock. You feel like going for a jog? There's a million places to go. You feel like sitting down and reflecting on everything that is going on? There's your chance. Find a cool, shady place to sit down. Observe the sky, the wildlife. Get lost in it. Find the peace that nature is providing for us. It's very important, quite honestly. So, I hope this wasn't too much of a rant, because I know, especially for myself and other fellow podcasters, sometimes we like to get on a small little soapbox and rant a little bit to get our point across. And I really do hope that none of my episodes sound like a rant. And if they do, once more, feel free to email me at cheshirelookingglass@gmail.com. So, this Saturday I'll be putting out a new episode relating to 5 historical... How can I put this? 5 historical... I'm losing my train of thought here.